People call the Losi 5ive-TE the king of fifth scales, and for good reason. This thing is absolutely massive, and it demands your attention when you're driving it. Check this out, it's the new 3.0, and some of the purists might get a little wound up. It's not gas anymore, it is now electric, and they've made a ton of changes. This truck weighs over 55 pounds. It's capable of going over 50 miles an hour, and the brushless system is capable of handling over 50 volts. RC drivers, you need to see what they did to this truck. There was a major rework, and I'm gonna show you all of the details and give you some comparisons to the previous version. And after that, I'm gonna go bashing this thing in the sandlot. And you know what? I have some plans to send it. We're gonna get some serious air by the end of this video, so stick around. Let's go over what you get in the box. Starting off with the Spectrum DX3 radio system, comfortable, ready to run radio. It is equipped with AVC, active vehicle control. There is your rate knob for it, and it also has the smart battery level meter up top there, but comfortable radio to use. There are some additional battery straps depending on the size of the battery you use. You might have to swap those out. You of course get some tools. It's your basic tool set with some Allen keys and shock tools, and the most important one, the nut wrench for the wheels. And then they give you some battery spacers. So if you're running alternate size batteries, you go use these spacers so the batteries aren't sliding around. And then of course, an instruction manual. That is an absolute giant. Look at the size of this truck, RC drivers, taking up the whole workbench. It's bigger than the previous generation 5ive-TE. We're gonna go over all the details, starting off with the body. It's injection molded polypropylene, just like the Losi motorcycle. So these are hard panels. Check that out. 6 panels in total: hood, roof, side panels, and then rear fender panels. The front molded in blue, the rear molded in orange, and then they've got decals all over it to just finish out the look. I like the look. It's very cool, with the exception of the front. Looks a little billboard-like to me. I know they're, the real trucks are kind of flat up front, but this is lacking a little bit dimension. Maybe if they rounded off the corners of the fenders a little bit more. Nonetheless, I think it's gonna take some abuse. They got the lower front rubber valance here with the race-inspired logo printed on it, and a little bash bumper up front. And then here you can see they've got mesh for the window netting. That's pretty cool. There's of course a full cage underneath. I'm gonna take the body off in a second, but let's roll around to the rear here. And you can see they have a spare tire out back, which is along the lines of what a desert truck would have. There's your rear body clips, and just like the original 5ive-TE, there are front body clips, but they've changed the body mounting system in the center here. So there used to be screws that went up through the lower mud guards into the body, and nobody ever ran those. So what they did is they revised it with a pull bar. And what you do is you pull on the bar, it has spring tabs inside, it releases a post that is attached to those mud guards, and that's how you remove the body. So let me pull this off so I can show you how easy it is now. There we go, and the body should just come right up and off. It doesn't have the posts in the rear anymore that went into the rear bumper. That was always a hassle. But there is the inside of the body, guys. Full cage inside for protection, lots of bracing throughout. There are those pull bars I told you about. Looks like a really solid setup for the body. All right, now let's get to the business side of this truck. The 5ive-TE platform, based loosely off of the championship winning Losi 8 platform, but there are a ton of revisions to this. Much more than just, going and buying parts and throwing it on your old truck. There is a lot of work that's been done to this. And we're gonna start off with the chassis itself. So it's now longer than the previous generation. That's gonna give you better stability. Still a nice thick aluminum chassis plate, countersunk screws. They've got milled areas to reduce the weight in key areas, so you don't have to worry about bending and flexing. And to further brace it, they've got an upper brace system now. So before we just had the lower chassis braces in the front and rear. They still have the front brace, but the rear brace, this is some serious mold work back here. Look at all of the supports going up and down from the brace to the chassis itself. This is a really solid piece. Then you got the front piece that goes into the front steering support and front bulkhead support. This looks like a solid setup, guys. Then you got your mud guards on the side. There's those posts, aluminum posts again. And now there's battery trays, kind of where the engine used to be on the 5ive-TE. Large battery trays, so you could use some of Spectrum's big basher battery packs. racks. And again, you could throw some spacers in there and the optional battery straps if you have a smaller pack you want to run. So you can run this thing on 6S all the way up to 12S. Over on the right side of the chassis, the receiver box and servo mount. Plenty of room for the receiver that's inside. Like they have a little wire guide back here so that doesn't go over into the spur gear. Back to the front, look at the size of the bumper on this. Big change here, lots of bracing. Skid down to the lower chassis so you can slide over obstacles. And then here is the rear bumper, desert truck style, and arcs out to go around the tire. And they have this additional tire brace here because if you're landing on the back, this is just going to thrust everything forward, and this plate here, I believe, is just going to give you that extra support so nothing breaks. We should get into the suspension next, and there have been some major revisions here, starting off with these massive 32mm bore shocks. These are huge, guys. I'm guessing it's gonna take a standard bottle of oil to fill each one of these. These are an emulsion style shock. They have a tapered piston on the inside. I like that it's got shock boots on it, dual O-ring on the inside as well. The lower perch is captured. We got quick adjust top mount posts. Really cool setup. There is your bleeder screw there, so when you bleed out the shocks, but we've got some seriously heavy oil in there now. White springs front and rear, and the shock bodies are threaded so you can adjust the preload collars easily. Super thick shock tower, plenty of shock mounting positions, mounting holes for the camber links as well. Adjustable turnbuckles all the way around. Those look heavy duty, metal pivot balls of course, and then down to the suspension arms. So actually starting off in the center, still have the hinge pin plates that are metal, or excuse me, aluminum, and then we have revised suspension arms. So looking at the arm, it's a bit bulkier, a little bit more webbing, and then they gave some more clearance back here for the steering links, and we've got sway bars attached front and rear as well. The outer caster blocks and steering knuckles, these pretty much look the same. I don't think they changed them at all. You've got the kingpin secured with set screws with bushings for the pivots on the outside. Pretty much the same as what we saw before. Now let's check out the rear of the truck. New shock tower here too with the large bore 32mm shocks. Revised lower arms. These have a lot more webbing for better durability too. Sway bar. We even have droop screws in this, and I believe that the outer hub is the same. Didn't throw my calipers on there, but it looks similar in design, and they've got captured hinge pins on the outside. Moving on to the driveline, we're going to start off here with the center differential. It has an aluminum diff cup, which is absolutely awesome. That is the differential that's got to heat up the most because it's pushing the power to the front and rear wheels. So they eliminated the possibility of melting a diff cup with just applying aluminum. Of course, they got metal gears on the inside, metal cross pins, and there's 500,000 weight oil in there. 67 tooth spur gear, and that's actually easily accessible by pulling this top plate off, and you'll be able to pull the center diff out for maintenance. So the front mount is actually part of the motor mount as well, and that is a cast metal. You can see that the motor is adjustable, so if you want to go swap out the pinion gear, you'll be able to do that. And then the rear mount is composite, and it's got a high glass content in it. When I was putting in the screws, you could just hear them squealing. That's a really solid piece. Then they've got dog bones going to the front and rear. Pretty cool that they've got the size etched onto them, and they have rubber boots at the ends to just help protect against dirt and debris. I'm gonna go over to the front differential now. The case is pretty much the same. Inside you're gonna find a fluid-filled gear differential. The front and rear have a composite cup instead of the aluminum cup that you have in the center. And inside, of course, metal gears, but they also have the pin guide plates that are metal. So those pin plates aren't gonna heat up and walk into the composite case. Then steel outdrives out to front and rear CVs. They do have rubber boots on them, and what I like about the rubber boot setup is they have a aluminum ring on there just to help capture it so they don't walk their way off of the axle, off the stub axle. And I should just talk about the wheels and tires really quick. Look at the size of these guys. 8.5 inches. These are the new Proline Mirage desert truck tires. These are mounted to the wheels with B-lock rings. These are KMC licensed wheel. Very cool look to it. And they've got a really stiff urethane insert on the inside. There's almost no flex to that. With the amount of power going through this thing, I like this setup. Then just quickly in the rear, pretty much the same, differential setup as the front. Just they have 10,000 weight oil in the rear, 30,000 in the front. They've got CVs out to the stub axles. But the rear case has changed. Remember the 5T had the offset gear case. They've now moved it in line. All new gear case. Again, high glass content in there. really solid case to put up with the power that this thing is going to be putting out. Check out the improved steering setup on this one. It has massive bell cranks on it, ball bearings supported, and it's got this massive servo saver spring over here on the right hand side, super thick Ackerman bar, and 2 links to go and swing the steering crank with a cast metal double horn setup. So this steering system looks pretty bulky right out of the box, and of course adjustable tie rods out to the steering knuckles. And that leaves us with the electronics. So I'm going to start off with the steering servo. It's a new servo from Spectrum, the S1000MT. It's an aluminum top servo. They got metal gears on the inside, and get this, it pumps out 1,000 ounce-inches of torque, and this is rated for 8.4 volts. I checked the specs on the speed controller. The BEC is set to 8.4 volts. Inside the receiver box, you've got the 6200A receiver that is AVC equipped. Fits nicely inside, just 2-side tape down. And check out the size of this motor, guys. That is absolutely huge. 5,600 kV Spectrum motor. It could handle up to 12S, as I mentioned before, wrapped in a heatsink and a dual cooling fan setup. Because we got a lot of power, this thing's gonna be generating heat, and they've already equipped it with the cooling system we're gonna need from the factory. All the wires are nicely run, even captured here, so they're not bouncing around. And then we have a 250 amp Spectrum smart speed controller. This is also brand new from Spectrum. They haven't had it before. Bolted down to the top plate, it does have some programmability to it. You could adjust important things like brake and timing, BEC output, a couple other features, but I like this feature back here. They have the plugs bolted down, so those aren't gonna be bouncing around. You just take your plug right up from the battery to those. Then they have the stand with the switch, so you could easily access it through the top of the body. So to get the truck up and running, you're gonna need batteries and a charger. Again, 6S, 8S, or 12S, which is what I have in my hand here. 2 6800 basher packs. And if you're wondering what the price is, I'm actually gonna go throw it in the video description below, so it's the most up-to-date price, and I'll do my best to keep it up to date. Now guys, it's time to go out and run this beast. All right guys, we're gonna start things off with the speed test. Get this thing fired up. Truck is on. Check out the steering. That's pretty impressive. It's on 8S right now. Gonna save the 12S for later. All right guys, here we go. See if it's trimmed all right. Seems like it. Oh, it's wide. Oh my God. That sounds interesting. All right guys, here we go. Roll into it. And that is full speed on 8S. All right. See how we did here. A little more punch. I love how that front end lifts up. And we got 30 miles an hour. Right where it should be. And now guys, we're on 12S. What, 12 satellites? All right, only 25% battery in the GNSS. Hopefully I get this in. There we go. Those gears sound mean. And here we go guys. Kind of shaking a little bit already. Something this big. We're moving, that front end is up. We got some squat in the rear. All right, that should be good. Plenty of brake. Like all the metal sound in the driveline. All right guys, here we go. We got 47 miles an hour. Now, one thing to note is this is a brand new truck right out of the box. The drivetrain hasn't broken in yet, and the batteries are new too. And those will actually get a little bit better, so it might hit that 50. At the Sandlot RC Drivers, we're gonna kick things off with 8S. It's fired up, and I have been waiting to get this thing dirty. There we go. It is a little, you know, sluggish on 8S. However, we're getting some serious action with that dirt flying, that suspension moving. And actually, you know, it's fun to drive. I think one of the things to remember is this is like a 55-pound truck. There we go, some airtime. And it is moving. Easy jumps. Whip this thing around in turns. Love this bowl here. Off the jump, right at us. All right, up close, gets a little bit more wild. We're just a few minutes in, those 5,000 packs that I have in there, already dropping the battery meter down. I heard a quick beep out of it. You hear it beeping again. Oh yeah, that was a big send. I think it's time to get serious and throw in the 12S setup. All right, after about 5 minutes to swap out battery packs, we are now running on 12S. Let's hit it. Oh, there we go. That's where it's at. That's where it's at home, buddy. Look at that thing rip now. Oh, guys, the heart is already pounding. This is gonna be exciting. Look at this thing fly. It handles so good. A little light in the steering. But look at that thing blast through the dirt. That's just insane. And here we go, guys. Big jump. Oh my God. Did you just see that? It just cleared that entire space. That's insane. And look at that, guys. It landed on all four wheels. That was absolutely sick. Hill climb. Yeah, just ripping power. Oh, guys. All right, we're gonna go for the big launch here. Big launch. Oh man. That is sick. My heart is pounding. I'm surprised you can't hear it through the camera. Losi, I think he's calling this the king. I don't know. It's like Godzilla of RC trucks. Ah. This is one thing I'm noticing. The hood seems to be popping up. There's a problem. This thing went over the front of this bar, and that's buckling the body. Climb the side of the hill here. Just motoring. Serious power. That looks so sick. Now we're wood chipping it. Desert truck through the wood chips. Glass is firm. Yeah. Oh, guys. You know, I was a little worried about this being electric. You know, just having that history with the gas-powered truck. But I'm happy with what they created here. So yeah, guys, I think you know, 8S is cute, and 12S is just where it's at. And this truck seems to be getting better and better the more I drive it. It's like breaking in. I can power slide easier now. Steering seems to be a little bit better. I don't know if I'm just getting used to it. But wow, I think we need to head someplace and get some big airtime with it. What do you think? Made the trip up to RC Madness so we could hit the basher jumps. Now keep in mind, guys, this is a desert truck set up for handling, so we might see a little bounce when we flatland this thing, but let's get into it. Whoa, this thing flies, wow. And it flies really well. Do a little blip jump here. Oh, guys, we got some good handling. We're going right for the big jump now. Let's ascend. Oh, it got some air under it. I had to hit the brake to like reverse it. Wow, that was pretty cool. But this body keeps going over this front bumper piece. That's just gonna bother me. Wow, all right. This is good stuff. Put this smaller jump here. Yeah. Getting some big air with this guy. Nice, easy control. Good stuff. I am happy I brought it up here for you guys. Another big hit. We got to do it. We got some air coming this way too, so it's got to get really light. Love it, guys. I mean, it's effortless, almost effortless. Just a little bit of manipulation of the steering, the brake, keeping this thing level. Oh, wheelie, that was sick. I'm one-hand driving this. It's scary, guys. All right, big hit for you. We'll follow it as best I could. Oh, the big crash. I think it's good. I think it's fine. Nothing broken, guys. Look at that. Even hit the shock. No problem. It's good. And that AVC kicks in, just corrects it for me. Awesome. I'm not upset it's not a gas-powered truck. Wow. One more big hit for you guys. Let's wrap it up and head back to the workshop. I'll give you guys my final thoughts. Driving a new 3.0 made me realize how much I miss 5th scale. I was one of the original editors to drive a 5T when it first came out many years ago. Got to race it against Adam Drake, Yuka Stenari, Richard Trujillo. We had an awesome time at the Baja Nationals. And that just, got my love for 5th scale going. And it kind of faded away a bit because I don't have a spot to run gas trucks anymore. And this being electric kind of takes care of that. I know the purists are going to be upset that it doesn't have a gas engine, although it does have that top cap over the center diff that looks like you could put some brakes in there. But anyway, I don't know if they're gonna come out with one, but driving the electric version, just as exciting, guys. You saw how much power this thing has. It gets off the line really well for such a heavy truck, over 55 pounds when you got batteries in there. It's got some great handling. The truck feels really well balanced. One thing I did notice is the truck has a bit of understeer, but it's manageable with some braking, and I'd rather have it understeer than spinning out all the time. And this thing soars when you're jumping it. I know it's a desert truck and I was just supposed to do some off-roading with it, but I had to send it. And I was pretty impressed with how far this thing flew for its weight, its size, and yeah, that was ultra exciting. Now, after I landed on the rear of the truck, I had to bring it back to the workbench to see if I broke anything on it, and I wound up breaking something. I found that the, I guess you'd call it the Hans device for the rear tire, that like paddle that sticks up off the shock tower, broke free. One of the screws just kind of pulled through the plastic on it, and that's about it. That's actually going to be a really easy fix, and the rest of it's fine. Little things that I noticed that you're gonna have to work around is some of the decals pull up. I'd say if you're pulling yours out of the box for the first time, hit the decals with a hair dryer, stick them down even more, because sometimes they'll lift during shipping. When the front hood gets caught on the bumper bar, that's just a little awkward. You gotta push it back in here and there. And the pull bars on the side for the body, to release them, they get sand and dirt in there and they kind of freeze up. I had to use a screwdriver a couple times to pop them out. However, I think I like this body system a little bit better than the previous version. Rest of the truck, solid, guys. Tires are pretty awesome on this. I was doing some wide full throttle turns. They were growing, but they didn't rip off the beads. And I think people are gonna go wild with this. It looks like there's plenty of space in there to go throw some big motors for you guys that wanna go wild and fast with this thing. I think overall, it's a killer release from Losi. Gotta be a little bit on the pricey side. I'm gonna tell you to go with those 12S pack setups, but yeah, very cool truck. If you're into it, I'll have links in the video description below, or you can hit up your local hobby shop.